Hey everybody. How's everybody's Tuesday going? So I was thinking about why am I even on season 2, right? Shouldn't I just go by the date? On this date, this episode. And that's it. Because what are the seasons even for? I'm not a television show, so I mean, I understand it to a point. I think that unless I'm covering a certain topic one season and a different topic another season, then it would kind of make sense. This season was about this. But if I'm covering random stuff, do I really need to call it a season? Maybe it should just be by date. It probably makes more sense. I don't know. It's not like I have a producer or a director or anything like that telling me, like, yes, this is what we're going to do. And even if I did and they did decide we were going to do this, it would more than likely be because of what I said before, that all these episodes for this season have to do around or about this or that. What do I talk about? Random stuff. And I like it that way. I like being able to talk about whatever's on my mind. I mean, I'm not opposed to sticking to one subject that I'm passionate about or that I really care for. I mean, that would be great. I don't know that I care about that many things. I care about my daughter. That's it. I'm passionate about being a better person, being a better dad. I think I'm a good dad, but of course, I mean, if you're a good dad, you probably still want to do better. I think is one of the ingredients of being a good dad. Um, I don't know. I don't know that I'm even passionate about anything that I used to be when I was younger. I used to be a comic book collector. I was a psychopathic comic book collector. Don't touch it. You got to turn the page this way. And I knew everything about when the issue came out, uh, what number, what happened, uh, who wrote it, who drew it. The first print, the second print, how to tell the difference, first appearances, brief appearances, all that stuff. The special edition covers, ugh, god. But I think at most I had around 10,000 comics. I might be exaggerating, but I just had boxes and boxes of comic books. And I had an amazing collection. I had, um excluding the first appearance of Batman and Robin, I had the, like, the top key issues of Batman, excluding the first appearance of X-Men and the new X-Men in giant size. Um, oh, and the first appearance of Wolverine. I had all the key issues of X-Men. I've at one point, I guess, I felt bogged down. I felt like I can't even move in my room. My room feels tiny because it's a storage area. And it wasn't just comic books. I also collected uh, action figures. I mean, it's one thing when you actually play with them, and then you just sort of store them all in the same area. But when you don't even open them and your place looks like a store, I mean, I decorated my room with them. I liked the way my room looked since obviously I always got excited when I went to the comic book store or the toy store. So that's what I woke up to. And it was I don't even want to call it nice because it wasn't nice. Like peaceful stuff. That's nice. It was enjoyable. It was a game of collecting and showing off and feeling like that's right. And I own it. I own that. I remember I used to own, in perfect condition, Miracle Man number 15, which is in the top 10 best fights in comic books, which is a part of the top 40 best stories in comic books. And it's one of the hardest issues to get because apparently there was a natural disaster where the printing press machine was. So very few copies of Miracle Man number 15 survived, and I owned two. One to read, and I did read it from the actual issue, and another one that was like in CGC, those fucking covers. Um, I think I even own most of. No, I didn't. No, I I was gonna say I own most of Spider-Man's key issues, but that's a lie. I own some really good stuff, but not nearly as perfect as with Batman and X-Men. I guess those two were my favorite comic book series. Um, I I started off slowly. I started off getting rid of the comic books that didn't mean as much to me, and I would sell them in bulk like an idiot on eBay. I just wanted to get rid of them, and I felt better. I sold all my toys. I had like an insane uh, VHS and DVD and Blu-ray collection, and sold them. Felt better. I mean, I I regret. This is the worst part when you regret stuff. I regret selling my first appearance of Deadpool because later on I had a very chummy, friendly conversation with Rob Liefeld, creator of Deadpool, and he could have signed it. That would have been awesome. I regret selling Sandman number one, but fucking Neil Gaiman did not sign it for me, and it pissed me off. And I think I sold it just to spite him, I guess. Um, I regret selling my first appearance of Elektra, which was Daredevil 168. Um, Again, I met Frank Miller. We shook hands. Super nice guy, but he was dating a lady that could not hold it in when I went up to him. And that bitch lady, I'm sorry, but she fucked me up. And I was 19 at the time. And she just fucking said, "Oh no." And that just killed my energy to pull out Daredevil 168. Could you sign this for me? So that oh no made me just, it took it out of me. I couldn't do it anymore. I just shook his hand, said I was a big fan. That's it. Wished him a nice day, and that's it. But I was a teenager. I couldn't make the mature thought process of saying, fuck that bitch. She doesn't matter to me. She's nothing. Let me just pull this out and bug him for just a few seconds. It's not going to kill him. But whatever, didn't happen, and I sold it. That was an awesome cover too. I mean, I still have a few comic books, but very few. And even less up on my wall that I've had autographs by people like Mark Silvestri, Stan Lee, who actually autographed two comic books for me. What else? Brian Polito, because of Evil Ernie. I have the actual Evil Ernie #1 and the special edition one. Um, what else did I get that's special? Oh yeah, Cry for Dawn #1 by it's autographed by Linsner. So I have good stuff. Can't complain. Mm, I have something autographed by Alan Moore, which I think that's probably my most oh comic book. But it's not anything that anybody would be like, "Ooh, he autographed that for you." Which one? V for Vendetta, Watchmen, Swamp Thing, Promethea from Hell. No, the first issue of Dodgem Logic. What? Some fucking magazine that he was running. Um, it actually does say some stuff. I've just kind of, like I briefly skimmed through it. I haven't like actually read any of it because I don't want to fuck it up. And every once in a while, I'll get a little urge to go back and reclaim my prized possessions, and even get the ones that I never got that I always wanted. I used to have the first appearance of John Constantine from Hellblazer, which is Swamp Thing 37, I think, by Alan Moore. I used to have Hellblazer #1. I think I had like 2 copies of that. I used to have Spawn #1. I think I had a shitload of copies of that one. Um, just a bunch of comic books that meant something to me in their time, you know? And why did I ever get rid of them? So I had almost every issue of Spawn, like the first 100 issues, all the side miniseries that came out in that time. And I'm pretty sure I just sold it as a bulk uh, item on eBay for not enough money. And I think that was pretty stupid. I had just gotten this OCD feeling of I don't want to be a collector anymore. This is taking my money. I'm being stupid. I'm an idiot. I don't even feel comfortable traveling or the idea of moving out of my parents' house because where the fuck do I put all this and how the fuck am I going to move it all? So that was regretful. And it wouldn't have been that many issues, honestly, if I would have just kept the key issues and not sold them off. I'd be fine right now. If I had held on to my first appearance of Cable, of Deadpool, of Mystique, of Miss Marvel. I think that was Miss Marvel #1, which was a really great cover. Let me have some tea before I choke to death. I'm drinking this tea called. I can't believe that it's called this, but I'm gonna just double check in the friggin' bag. Pine needle tea bags. Yeah, pine needle tea bags. I mean, And I'm looking at the tea bag, and those things are the long pine needles. Apparently, it's good for getting rid of phlegm, and I'm drinking it with some key limes that I squeezed in there because apparently that's also good for getting rid of phlegm. Oh my god! If you have any other, I don't know, if you know of any other way to get rid of the damned phlegm problem, please let me know in comments. I have this machine that I hardly ever use. I think I used it like once or twice when I first bought it, and it's just been staring at me every day ever since. You stick your face in it. Well, I mean, you put some like a small amount of water in it. You turn it on, it heats up, and then the vapor starts to shoot up. You kind of put your face in it so it cleans out your pores or whatever. But it also has this added little thing that you can put on it that it's for your nose. So you just breathe in the vapor and it's supposed to like clear out your nose. I assuming. Maybe that's it. I bought the nasal rinse and it's a plastic bottle, but it doesn't say BPA free. So I wrote some questions. Uh, I wrote them some questions like, is it BPA free? And a lot of them said, well, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And then I got very obscure, yes. And then somebody else that was more professional trying to say, like, yeah, we've looked into it, and yes, it is. Honestly, I wouldn't trust it. I'd say go with ceramic because you really don't want those fucking little particles that you can't see. You don't see them collecting in your fucking brain. It's just gonna fuck you up in the most inconvenient way at the least convenient time possible. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a ceramic one for my daughter. And then there's two different ones. There's the famous ceramic one, and then there's another one that looks like it's even better made. It's a little more expensive, but not by much. It costs double, so you're not gonna fucking die. So the well-known one is like $15, and it's ceramic, which is really weird. But a lot of people on Amazon have said on the comments that they ordered the ceramic one and got a plastic one, which is even fucking worse. And not like that nasal spray plastic squish bottle, but like a toy hard plastic. So it's, yeah, that's definitely not BPA free. Ah, regrets. So, why am I talking about regretting selling my comic book collection? I don't think I regret selling my action figures collection, honestly. I think some of them were kind of cool. I kind of miss my Freddy and Jason. That's honestly about it. I also miss my opened action figures. There's some of the opened action figures that I actually really liked. I thought they were kind of cool. A lot of Spawn action figures. I remember this one called Zombie Spawn. I thought it looked great. Um, I think I had one of the McFarlane Clive Barker Tortured Souls, this sort of a 1 foot tall action figure toy. That one was pretty cool. But all in all, I don't think I regret selling the action figures as much. I think I have the action figures that were important to me, and I'm good. I think it was more about the comic books, and I don't know. I don't honestly know why. I don't know why I regret selling some of those comic books. I think what pushed me over the edge was a couple of things. One, I was able to find copies, free copies, illegal copies of all these comic books that almost instantly in my mind, in my being, just fucking lowered the value of comic books as a collectible. And it's true. I think that was I can't exactly remember when, but it's been a while ago. It's been like 15 years that I kind of felt like, well, let me explain how I felt before it became so easy to find any comic book story online. I felt like this is probably how most people felt. The comic book stories that you love, that you absolutely love, and that are so just amazing, either because of the illustrations or the story or both, and 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 they're special to you on another level because you know that it's not just anybody that has seen these stories. Only the comic book readers or the comic book collectors are reading these stories, which gives them like another level of being special. And if that's not enough, they go up in value. And so they kind of feel like not only are they special for a good reason, but they're also an investment. You can literally pass these things down to your kids and they're worth even more money, you know? So they just felt like something really special. And the fact that people didn't know about them, like it wasn't your average person that you could say, "Hey, what did you think of the Batman story or the X-Men story that came out a few months ago?" You know, it wasn't as easily accessible or shareable as music, of course, a movie, a television show. It just had an extra level or layer of importance that couldn't be described or shared. It had to be experienced. And because it wasn't in the usual standard of popularized media, it just seemed really obscure, and that made it feel I don't know, it made me feel like I was privileged to something that most people were not experiencing. So I read most of the famous Marvel stories, the most important ones, the most important DC stories, and maybe this did kind of inflate my ego a little bit, like looking at other people that just didn't know about these stories. Like you have no fucking idea. It's like meeting someone that's never seen The Matrix or The Dark Knight or Scarface or Godfather or Taxi Driver or you know this The Shining, A Clockwork Orange. I mean, Braveheart. I don't know. Whatever movie you feel changed your life, even if it's fucking Titanic, and that makes you feel like everybody saw this movie. Terminator 2. Everybody's seen this movie, but then you meet somebody that says, I've actually never seen any of those movies. You might just feel like, what? I mean, to be honest, that person is probably doing very well for themselves because I don't think you need movies. I don't think I needed these comic books, but I did enjoy them. I did feel that they took me out of my small town and made the drudgeries of everyday existence when I was young feel sort of tolerable, because I could escape through these fantasies. And I swear to you, I felt closer to my comic books than I did to most of my family members. I felt that these stories, they were like family because they took me back every time I saw them, just from the cover. And I took care of them like they were fucking children, right? With the special hardback and the special little bag that protects it. And if you're gonna look at it, you need to like be very careful when you turn the page. It has to be a certain manner. And I mean, I'm not as bad as that one character from that one cartoon show, the '90s, Rocco's Modern Life. I can't remember his name, but he would he. I still remember the line. I think this was the first episode. He said, "First, you gotta wash your hands, and then you turn the page, and then you wash your hands, and then you turn the page, and then you wash your hands." And I was never that extreme. The comic book that I always wanted, there were three of them. I wanted the first appearance of the Crow, which is Caliber Presents. I can't fucking remember what issue. Might have even been the first Caliber Presents. The Crow number one, of course. I wanted House of Secrets number. I want to say 92, but fuck. I can't remember. The first appearance of Swamp Thing. I wanted Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number one, the first appearance, the first print, not second or third or whatever the hell print they actually went up to. I wanted the first appearance of the Punisher, which was Amazing Spider-Man number 121. I'm not sure. Of course, I wanted Giant Size X-Men. I wanted Hulk 181, but yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath for those. The reason why I even wanted Giant Size X-Men was because when I was younger, I actually saw it in um in a catalog for sale. It was a mail order catalog of comic books, and it was $60, and it was the first appearance, and I didn't fucking have the money, and so I didn't get it. But I felt like, fuck, man, I could have gotten this. Now that thing is, I don't know, probably $1,000 or more. I would never pay that much money, honestly. I mean, maybe if I was ridiculously Nicolas Cage rich, but even then, I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing? Spending $1 million just for Action Comics number one? Fuck no. Fuck no. I had an interesting replica of Action Comics number one. I think one of my exes stole it because it looked like a counterfeit Action Comics number one. So I had, very strangely, I had a counterfeit Action Comics number one. There's no way I'm going to believe that I had the actual Action Comics number one, but there was nothing on it that said reprint or that even sort of clued you in that this isn't the actual first Action Comics number one. So that was very interesting. I think I would have definitely kept that one, but it's fine. I don't think it helped her very much. I saw Mr. Beast's manifesto, like a video, some guy just reading it. I saw the entire thing, or I should say, I heard the entire thing in that video. I mean, the guy knows what he's talking about. Most of it is common sense that people just don't really think about in the moment when you're creating whatever kind of content you want to be creating. And it's admirable, I think, because he actually put in the time to look at it and develop a business formula that would be successful. But then one of the key things that he said in there that made an impression on me is that whatever you do, you have to have a passion for it. Otherwise, you're not going to be as creative because you don't really care. And it's true. And that's when I started to think about like the things that I do on a regular basis today in my life. And honestly, it's not what I used to do when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I didn't know the truth about Hollywood, about movies and political agendas and how they're used to manipulate people. I didn't know that government meant controlling the mind, entertainment means, you know, distracting the mind. I thought what most people think, you know, hard work and perseverance will get you anything without realizing that the game is rigged. So, no, it won't. It'll get you to work for the people that are controlling everything, and it's set up completely against everyone. Would I really want to work in an environment that, unless I'm promoting their agenda, which is not a very good one, I need to promote, let's see, women are better than men, uh, sex is fun and should be had regularly with a whole bunch of partners because why not? As long as you're not physically hurting someone, then it's okay. It's not. So when I was a kid, I saw movies. I thought, that's great. I want to be in movies. Later on, I thought, you know what? Directing movies would be best. So the things I was always doing when I was a kid for fun would be drawing, writing stories. You could also say playing video games, but I think there's a cap. There's a limit of how much you could play video games until you burn out. I know that most people would be like, "No, I think it depends on the type of person you are. But if you've ever played a video game so much to the point where you're actually hating it, you're hating the experience because you can kind of, maybe consciously you don't see it yet, but subconsciously there's something in you telling you that we're just repeating the same fucking tasks over and over and over again. We're not really doing anything. We hate this. We're killing the time we have to do something that we're not even actually enjoying. In games now, so far, the only game that I've been able to feel or not feel that sort of hatred of playing it for too long are the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Elden Ring, Bloodborne. I haven't played Sekiro enough. And I'm not suggesting that those games aren't a complete waste of time, like all video games are. Even Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, those were fun. Those were they have interesting stories, just like the Dark Souls stuff. Um, Even with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I kind of felt like I'm just doing the same fucking thing over and over again. You have to find the shrines, solve the puzzle, and then just go rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat until you've gotten enough. And now you can go fight Ganondorf. You got to go to the four different kingdoms and stop something, help something, and stop an animal and this other bullshit. But it's the same shit. It's just, shrouded in a very good story, and it's cute. It's got a great facade. So it keeps you kind of playing it. There's this sort of tease that you'll understand so much more if you just keep playing this game. And it never fulfills that promise, you know. But you're enjoying it. You keep doing it. But if you do it too long, even those games, you'll feel like I hate this shit. um, what was that one? The Dungeons and Dragons game that Baldur's Gate 3. There you go. I loved that game, but I hated the ending. The ending was the shittiest fucking ending I've ever seen in a motherfucking video game, especially for one that I devoted that much time to. The ending was so fast. I saved the big red chick demon. I saved her from dying. Didn't want her to die. Um, had a relationship with the brunette. She's hot and kind of liked her. But then we separated, and I'm supposed to meet her eventually. I don't know. It was the shittiest motherfucking ending. You honestly, those fucking people should have taken into consideration that if they pass this motherfucking long ass game, should probably give them like a good motherfucking half hour of a wrap up so they feel good about what happened with everybody and leaves them excited to want a DLC or a sequel, no, it was so just a flush, just a piss and a flush. And it's like, come on. If you don't care, you expect me to care more than you? Fuck you. So I don't regret beating the entire fucking game. Um, I think the motivation was Dungeons and Dragons and also seeing that IGN had given it a perfect 10. it's a masterpiece or whatever. Sure, it is. I give it a fucking 9. That ending was such a fuck you. Like, fuck me, fuck you. Which honestly, I kind of think that it's fine if I don't really like video games anymore because I don't really like movies anymore either. I don't think they're good anymore. I think that whoever the fuck is controlling this shit has decided that they're all going to be garbage now. Now let's see how this could have been done. So these people, they went to school, and you might have heard that you go to college or university to get stupid, but that the elites sort of indoctrinate you. You get that stamp of approval from them that, yes, you are this much stupid. We accept you. So they can control the managers of the future. So most of these people, they're not being told straight up, and some of them are. This needs to be about gays. This needs to be about how men are misogynistic. Let's pretend that there is no word as misandry. So these fully indoctrinated university grads go to their jobs and write stories through the filters that they've been programmed with now. And movies are shit. Video games are shit. But I'm kind of glad. I don't think they were ever necessary. I know that movies and video games, just like music now, is not aimed at my age group. It's aimed at the people that haven't lived long enough to know any better. Now, good parents wouldn't be allowing their kids to watch or play or listen to the garbage that's out there now. Unless they're busy working, they're busy thinking of other things. They haven't taken an interest in noticing that movies, games, and music have been hijacked and severely altered. I don't blame them. Same thing had happened when my parents let me watch, play, and listen to whatever I wanted. They figured that these things were something comparable to what they remember them being until they became university grads from med school, and they were busy, so they stopped partaking in the media stuff. But they were wrong. What I grew up watching was pornographic, uh, very satanic, very cynical, very nihilistic. It was horrible shit. And it programmed me in a very stupid manner. and I'm witnessing it being done again. It's pretty diabolical, and I see the genius of it. You don't see what was it? I can't remember where I saw this analogy, but it said if you if you boil a pot of water and you throw a living frog in there, it's just going to jump out. But if you put him in there first into the water and then you gradually turn up the heat, it won't move. It won't move. It won't do anything until it's too late. And we're pretty much living in that. So society gets programmed on purpose to be worse and worse and worse. Nobody sees it because everyone's too busy. Nobody really takes that much of an interest in their kids because, well, hell, my parents raised me like this, so it's good enough for you. I I can't believe that there are fucking parenting manuals, and I don't know anybody that reads them, but I actually wanted to. The silly lady I was with did not want to. She's not a reader. I sure know how to pick them. Thanks, Elba Bayoth. And yes, I'm a I'm a Gnostic Christian Buddhist. Pretty much means that I believe in Jesus and in the teachings of Buddha. The difference between a Christian and a Gnostic Christian is you only believe in the Bible. You acknowledge that the Vatican removed a shitload of books from the Bible, and you're not even a little curious to read them. You're fully complacent that these people that you've never met must have your best interest at heart, even though Vatican means prophecies of the serpent. um, and in a Gnostic Christian believes in the Bible and in the stuff that they took out. Interesting. In the Gnostic Christian books, it states that the main villain, and there's many, but the main one, he is a serpent with the head of a lion, and his name is Yaldabaoth. Um, he goes by other names. Demiurge is one of them. He's the creator of the physical realm. I could say more, but I mean, I think that there's a fine line between being an asshole and trying to help people. And I don't think you can help anyone when you're insulting them. Or or if you're telling them something that you already know is going to make them feel insulted. So I kind of understand why Buddha said that when he reached enlightenment, he saw a great many things that he refuses to share because it wouldn't help. It would not help you towards liberation. And the more of those things that I've discovered, the more I see how absolutely he was right. like the stuff that's covered in the YouTube channel Vibes of Cosmos. For example, that if Buddha was referring to some of that, which I think he must have, yeah, I don't think it helps anybody to know that. I mean, it helps a little bit. It helps you know that, oh, okay, so the people that are in charge are they're fucking bad guys because they're lying up the ass about this stuff. And yeah, yes, they are. But obviously, I mean, Buddha wanted more of his followers to just kind of try to master meditation because you can unlock your own potential through self control. And if you're too into all these, if you're chasing conspiracy truth, I mean, you can do that forever. There are so many layers of truth that you could literally just chase them down forever. But will it ever help you or anyone else for that matter? I don't know. I think maybe a little, but maybe not to the extent that one would want it to. You know, like I remember back in 2019, I read something by David Icke, Children of the Matrix, and I already felt um, that a lot of the figures in the Bible, in like Genesis, they were reptilian. I had no idea why I felt that way, but I did. I think it had a lot to do with the creature that went up to Eve being a reptilian, right? Because it wasn't just a snake. If he says, if God punishes the snake by saying, I'm going to remove your arms and legs, that's not a fucking snake. And then I read the David Icke book saying that, yeah, reptilians are fucking real. I'm like, gee. I don't know why, but I felt like, why is this book so fucking obscure? Why does nobody know this stuff? Why isn't this talked about ever? I mean, you might hear it on some YouTube channels, but you don't fucking hear it ever in like legacy media. So I felt like I need to expose this, which was just childish and egotistical to think that I could do something, to change this. I think that we all have strength and power and that we all matter and we can all make a difference, but sometimes that difference that you make needs to be small, and you need to be patient. Just like you can see the bad guys in real time, be patient, right? Because they're not changing things towards whatever agenda they fucking have in mind, which is probably get rid of men or just make men the new. Oh man, they didn't do it overnight. It took them a long time of processing bullshit and slinging bullshit and getting bullshit to look like roses. It's a lot of planning and methodical thinking and execution. It's just patience. So obviously the answer would have to come much the same way. I think if you know the truth, you know, tell everybody you know, but be patient. Can't force it down anybody's throat. if if you have an intelligent friend, but most of their intelligence is based off of how much they believe in academic information, you probably won't be able to convince them so easily because their ego is based off of how smart they are because they know all that academic information. So they're going to hold on to that with a passion. But if they're really smart, not just memorizing shit, in time they should be able to open up to actual facts and actual information that cannot be disputed. Like here's a great one. I had this talk the other day with a woman that came to my house who I don't know. It's complicated. I'll put it that way. I says to her, "Are dinosaurs real? What do you think?" And she said she doesn't know, which is a great answer to have because if you do the research on whether dinosaurs are real, besides all the fucking movies that'll pop up, you'll find out that in paleontology, paleontologists, the people that actually get to interact with the bones, with the complete skeleton, not just a bone, but the complete skeleton, is so small, such a small group, that if you could sort of humor me for a moment, you can kind of see how easily. So I'm not going to say that they're doing this, but I will say consider how easily it would be for them to lie if they wanted to about what the animal or being or whatever the fuck actually look like. How hard would it to use the discovery of this possible giant reptilian and don't let anybody see the skeleton, not incomplete, not the complete skeleton, and rearrange the bones to look like something else that it doesn't actually look like so that it can be correlated to a different agenda currently for them, which is evolution, right? Apparently the T-Rex, that's a chicken. That's a chicken from a long time ago. How hard would it be to take the bones and rearrange it to look like something else? When you're not allowed to look at the actual bones and study them yourself. You're not. I know, you're thinking, that's not true in museums. In museums, they will tell you those aren't the actual bones. Those are replicas, they will say to you. Those are the replicas of the actual bones. So you don't ever actually get to see the actual dinosaur bones. Ever. And the people that do actually get to see the bones in entirety, the entire skeleton, is such a small group of people. They're all in the club. So if you're a paleontologist, you might get to see a dinosaur bone and study it, but you'll never get to see the entire skeleton. So tell me, how hard would it be to lie about that? to fit a narrative. And then, you know, they just start commercializing it like crazy with books, movies, TV shows, games. That's what I think they were. They could also have been dragons. And again, they don't want you to know about dragons, right? Because then that would sort of shine a light on, again, the Bible being true. Or they're giant reptilians. And they don't want you to know about reptilians. They don't want you to know that there were people before that were of a larger size than us. Yeah, I think that we could all learn a lot about this reality, some more from looking at that. And that's not on the agenda. So you're not crazy for noticing that you could think of the solutions to everything when you were a child and they never did it, and that there's constantly war that none of us actually want, pointless and stupid, but it's always going on. Why don't we have um, cars that run on water? And I don't mean that can go into water. I mean that use water as a fuel source, cold fusion. Why do we always use heat fusion? It's not impossible. Why haven't we gotten the flying car? Is it because they don't want us to go see certain things, certain places that aren't supposed to exist? There's a lot of things that could be done that aren't being done, and it's not by accident. So I guess I'm not a gamer because I only like the Dark Souls games now, and I only like games from when they used to be good. Or maybe it's that I've gotten old enough to the point where I feel like if the game isn't consistently good, if it's just sporadically good, that's a shit game. Okay, like here's a good game. Donkey Kong and Mario. I'll tell you why. It was consistent throughout its entire gameplay. It was consistent on being what it already promised to be. You're going to get challenges nonstop, and that's it. It was consistent. It never changed very much. So it was an honest game. I played Silent Hill 2 remake. I think like half of the game. The second half, I was like, man, fuck this. I don't want to play this game. I really don't. Some of it was fun. It had some fun jump scares, but most of it was just me running around and having to look at every fucking nook and cranny to see what was there to be picked up. Some stupid puzzles that had no point at all. I mean, at least in fucking Resident Evil, they would say like, "Oh well, this guy he made these puzzles. He was into this stuff. He would collect these things, and sure, whatever." I don't know why Resident Evil does it better. Silent Hill died a long time ago, and we got teased Like, what was it, a year ago or some shit? We got teased that you've all been missing Silent Hill, right? Well, guess what? Silent Hill's coming back. And I think what killed Silent Hill originally was the sequel movie. So the first movie was amazing. And then I think the writer or something, or the director, I can't remember who it was, got into some legal trouble because of a car accident. And I think somebody was killed. I don't know. Look into it if you care. Um, and so they got different people to work on the sequel. And as usual, this fucking formula of apparently only very few people know how to do things correctly, which is just so fucking bullshit. That's can't be true. Only a few people. Fuck off. I mean, even if the writer had died or whatever, somebody can write shit and then a director makes it better. And of course, more often than not, it's usually the other way around. Somebody writes something awesome and then the director fucks it up with his vision. But then that's not even the end of the line. I mean, you still have the cameraman skills, you still have the editor who can edit the fuck out of it and turn it into something at least tolerable. The sequel was garbage, and it could have been a motherfucking masterpiece as well because the I think it was loosely based on the third game, which in my opinion was the best game. Silent Hill 3 had some amazing imagery. I still recall it around the end. It was intense seeing all that stuff on the walls. And then the crazy god baby. I mean, shit. It was intense. But I'm remembering it through the filter of a young person. I know that I wouldn't have the tolerance to beat that game today. Be like, this is shit. This is stupid. But it was still, I don't know, the theme park and the bunny mascots. I liked it. The soundtrack, I mean, it was good. It was a good fucking game. And I think they peaked at that one because it wasn't at Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 was so lame, especially the ending. You have to fight your own fucking cancerous wife, and it was the dumbest shit ever. I really think they fucking, as usual, just like Space Marine 2 not releasing a remaster of the first game, Silent Hill dropped the fucking ball not making a remake of the first fucking game. If you're if you might say like, well, it's pretty much the same as the original movie. I don't care. I would have enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the original fucking movie. Silent Hill 2 remake was dog shit. You won't be able to tell right away because it looks amazing. Of course, things have gotten so pretty that now most people are fooled into thinking that it's quality. Things can look pretty and have no fucking real, I don't know, depth, quality, the mechanics of how people move, the challenges, the constant having to just walk from here to over there and then over here and look here and see what this is and how to solve this puzzle. It was stupid shit. Even when I saw the second half of the game, all the cutscenes on a YouTube video, I was playing that shit on double time because they speak so slow, trying to be so like, oh, I see. Hey, do you want to come with me? It's like they they actually deliver a lot slower than that. I'm pretty sure the director would have been like slower. uh I liked Pyramid Head. I liked the scares. I didn't like that there was only like three enemies in the entire fucking game. Let's see, there was the nurse, the S&M bodied condom woman that would sometimes vomit at you or shit herself or slide across the floor. There was an overgrown cockroach, and I guess there was Pyramid Head. Uh, there was the, mm, the molestation father bed, some other weird box. But these are bosses. They're not throughout the game. Throughout the game, you just sort of see those main three: the cockroach, the condom bag lady, and the nurse. That's it. You will randomly get sprinkled with some pyramid head. You actually get to fight him like twice. Uh the other boss fights, I guess, are that molestation bed thing, a box with a person in there thing, and your no, Maria looking like your ex what your dead wife. Uh you can enjoy it just because it looks so pretty. After a while, when you're just doing the exact same thing over and over again, you're just going to see how stupid it is. And I just don't think it's worth it. I think if I had played that as a kid, I'd be like, oh, it's so amazing and I love it and I'm scared. And so it's definitely something that kids would enjoy. I don't think I'd recommend it to grown-ups. You'd have to be a grown-up that hasn't noticed the problem in order to enjoy it, I think. And even then, I would still say just play it for like an hour. No more than that. Trust me. You'll get so sick of the tedious, repetitive bullshit. But it did just make me sort of feel like I don't think I'm into games anymore because they're really just not good. I still have two games that are new ish that I want to play and decide for myself if I like them or not, which is because I already decided when it came to Cyberpunk, whatever the fuck numbers, it's garbage. It's straight up garbage. I mean, it looks like it has potential, but then it falls into that same category as every other game does nowadays, which is you have to do a bunch of tedious side quests in order to progress the game, and it's just stupid and feels boring. I want to check out Alan Wake 2 and Black Myth Wukong. Yeah, because I have not ruled them out as being shit. And hopefully I won't have to. And there's that other one that I can't remember, Stellar Blade. Yeah, I want to play some more of that because She's fucking hot. Honestly, that's it. That alone motivated me to want to play it. It looks amazing, and she's fucking hot because it looks amazing. But I won't be surprised if it's just tedious shit. But at least I'll get to look at, at Hot Eve. That counts. I saw two movies this weekend because I don't think the new movies are good anymore. I think that while I don't believe that it's impossible to make a good movie now, I think it's just less likely. Whoever's working in a movie now, how old are they? I mean, they probably didn't graduate film school too long ago. They probably were not taught older techniques, older styles. And if they were, more than likely it was just to point out that they're inferior and these new ways are even better. This is what people now want. And so it's just crap to me. I saw City of God, which I think came out in the 90s. It's a Brazilian movie, so I don't really watch a lot of subtitle movies, but this was a movie that I just couldn't ignore because it's been in like the top best list of movies ever made, and I'm like, I remember I one time rented this movie, but I never saw it. I finally saw it. I'm glad I did. It is it is motherfucking captivating. Like from beginning to end, it's not boring at all. You are captivated by everything that's going on. So I guess there's like areas in Brazil that are extremely poor. And so most of the young people usually, well, they go without a lot. And sometimes I guess they might become criminals in order to get ahead. They might rob a truck or sell drugs. And in this movie, we're introduced to a group of characters and then another group. It's I can't, I don't know how to describe it. It's basically gang life in Brazil and what it's like growing up in that or with that around. It was incredibly impressive. I really enjoyed it. I think it's definitely, without question, one of the best movies ever. I think one of the things I admire um, about that movie is I don't know if they did, but it felt like they did. It felt like they hired completely unknown people, completely like people off the street almost. That's what that movie kind of felt like. So if those people weren't just off the street, they all did a great job. After that, I saw Sound of Freedom. and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And by bad, I don't mean the quality. I mean how it makes you feel. I knew it was about child trafficking. I knew it was an important movie, but I think I avoided it because of the same reason why most people avoid it. They know it exists, but they feel that acknowledging it or talking about it or confronting it is too ugly. And so it's not something that gets discussed in polite society. I finally saw it and it wasn't all that bad. You know, I'm really happy that they didn't have any like fucked up scenes with children. I mean, they were fucked up enough, but they weren't overboard. So I just got exposed to a lot of good information when it comes to how they traffic kids, and it's in those big giant boats with the rectangular motherfucking things. I need to learn how to say things. Hopefully, you know what I'm talking about. It's not a freight train; it's a freight liner. Big giant boats with those big rectangular metal boxes. Apparently, they'll traffic them in there. How are you ever going to check when those fucking boxes are stacked one on top of the other? And then they'll do their disgusting shit on islands. So I didn't know that was a trend for these scumbags to do that stuff at. I thought Epstein Island was, a one shot. Like, oh, okay, this guy's rich and he has his own island, and so that's why that. But apparently, no. This is a common thing that's done with these fucking bastards. Um, I don't know how you prevent it. I know that I agree with Mel Gibson where he says that you really have to expose the information and get this information out to people, that awareness is a way of eradicating this from happening ever again. Hopefully that's true. Honestly, I would love to know what's going on in all those islands. We know that islands exist. Some of us may have been to an island, but have you been to all of them? Maybe they all need to be inspected. And even if you go, do you know where they keep them? You know, there was another great scene in the movie where he went into, I think it was a jungle in Colombia, but it was apparently a no go zone. So the police and the military would not go in there. It was a bunch of guerrilla warriors, guerrilla soldiers, guerrilla. Um, yeah, I don't say guerrilla. I can't actually say guerrilla. It means warrior or soldier, pretty much. Warrior. Um, these fuckers, they're in the jungle. They're living pretty nicely, but they'll buy some of these underage kids for fucked up reasons, and then nobody goes in there. So that's just horrible. I wonder, honestly, how hard would it really be to go into these guerrilla zones. If you have professional mercenary team with professional top of the line equipment, you can see you can see heat or you have night vision or all that stuff and it's nighttime. Couldn't you easily go in there with your team, watch each other's back, round them up, get the leaders, kill them easier, but could also just grab them and tie them up, grab the leaders, take them out, leave the innocent people, rescue whoever needs to be rescued, and that's it. That's the end. See what I'm saying? Like these things that even a child could look at and say, "Oh, well, why don't they just do this?" Shows you that it's not being done because they can't do it. It's not being done because they're choosing not to do it. Why is it a no-go zone for the police and the military? Because the military could go in there and that's it. No more guerrilla zones. They're being told by their bosses, nope, you don't go in there. So, yeah, it it's without question set up. The guys in charge are not the good guys. We're the good guys. But the bad guys have already successfully gotten us to sort of be against one another, right? They've already categorized all of us, programmed us to see it that way. Hopefully soon we can uh, we can do something about it, or even if it's not a big change, if we can just do small changes in time that will accumulate, you know. So I think if we can all kind of just think this way, where what we do does matter, if we look at it that way, all of us together making those small changes, those small increments in the right direction in a short time, we could make things great. We could get rid of the bad guys in charge. I'm not in favor of anybody that's okay with kids getting hurt or is okay looking the other way when kids are getting hurt. Kamala Harris is garbage. She's a fucking liar. I think they put her up there just because Joe Biden was doing so shitty. But I received the ballot voting um, through the mail, and I saw that there's other people on there. It's not just Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Kamala being an Indian name. There's Robert Kennedy Jr. for the Liberal Party. I can't remember. And then there's somebody else for the Green Party, and I'm like, why don't they ever really mention these people? Why is it all about the Democrats and the Republicans? Can't we have a president that isn't a Democrat or a Republican? Because I don't remember the last time we have. I need to look into them. I might just vote for somebody that I know will lose, but I would never vote Democrat. Those guys have clearly demonstrated that they're the bad guys. I heard something strange that I had heard said for a while now, and I just decided to look into it. So I've heard for a while now that Michelle Obama is actually a man. And, oh, well, I mean, you can tell. I mean, you can kind of understand how that's comically plausible. The bitch is bigger than the motherfucker himself. I mean, that lady is a much broader, bigger thing than Barry is. So I looked into it, and apparently, the birth certificate says Michael, Michael Lavon, something with an L, weird name, Robinson, and then the explanation for that is weird. Well, it was a mistake, so we call him Michelle. And then I've seen the two videos where Obama calls it Michael. The first one, he said, my Michelle. And then in another one where he's giving a speech and he actually full out says, Michael and I. So, okay. Michelle's name is actually Michael, and it changed it to Michelle. I've seen some other things where it changed its sex with the government from an M to an F. Um, I'm not going to outright believe these, right? Because Photoshop is a real thing, so I'm not stupid. But when you have videos of it, testimonies, I still remember what I thought when I first saw that person. I thought, damn, that is one fucking ugly ass face. And why do why are her eyes so close together? Um, I've seen some of the pictures of when they were supposedly young and first getting together, and yeah, it does kind of look like the face is photoshopped, but the body isn't. The body shows you that the person hugging on Barry is a lot bigger than he is. Then I saw the picture of Michael Laban Robinson, Bill Gates, and Barry Soetoro on an island. For those of you who don't know, Barry Soetoro is Barack Obama. See, his mother remarried Lolo Soetoro uh, from Indonesia. He ran the death squads there for the CIA. He was a CIA asset. So he basically had people killed all the time. And I thought that Barry grew up in Hawaii, but I guess they moved. Either that or his mom grew up in Hawaii and then she moved to Kenya where Barry was born. And then when they were separated, she went to live in Indonesia with the Lolo Soetoro, who was his Barry stepfather. They had a transvestite, or is that still a transsexual? A transsexual used to means a man that had an operation to remove their penis so they could whatever. Transvestite used to be someone that just dresses like a woman, but I guess they've the LGBT has gotten rid of the word transvestite. It's too, you know, you don't want to be too exact. They don't want people to use words that say exactly what they mean. They want generalizations. So that's part of the Baphomet movement. And yeah, but this is a man who did not pay to have a surgery done, just dressed up as a woman his entire life. And this person was Barry's nanny. Why? I don't know. That's how it went. Anyways, um, I saw a video of the nanny talking about how he hasn't been able to get a good job since. Oh man, I feel bad for that old person. And I guess that's where he met Michael Laban Omin Robinson. I mean, Michael Michael L. Robinson, whatever, MLR. And I saw a picture of this big fucking guy. And he had a weird indentation, like a weird scar around his elbow. And there are pictures that show that Michelle Obama has that same weird indentation and scar around her elbow, the exact same one. So do with that what you will. Anyways, I gotta go. Uh, look it up. Let me know what you find. Have a great day. Peace, everybody. Later.